featured speakers. And, you know, every time we have launched a product at this company, it has a backstory, okay? A moment the idea was born and the team got to work to make it a reality. Shakeology was no different. The trifecta of Carl Daikeler, his wife, Isabelle Daikeler, and superfood ingredient hunter Darin Olien put their heads together to create nutrition in a bag. Now, Carl is on this interview for us today. He is going to take us through this story. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen, Carl Daikeler.
Thank you, Sandy. It is so exciting to be on the National Wake Up Call celebrating the 10th anniversary of my little secret weapon here. This is the thing, literally packed with frozen cauliflower, a little bit of spinach in there, but more importantly, superfoods, protein, fiber, phytonutrients, adaptogens, prebiotics, probiotics, digestive enzymes, and other stuff I probably even forgot, but that's good. That's okay, because I actually am lucky enough to have the co-formulators of Shakeology on this call to celebrate this amazing 10th anniversary of Shakeology on the same day that we are launching Ultimate Portion Fix to be available to customers all over North America and the UK. This is a huge day in Team Beachbody and Beachbody history, but let's start off. We promised you the origins story. So let me go back in time a little bit and first say, when I can remember about maybe 16 years ago, I was talking to our nutrition team and complaining about the fact that I gag on vegetables, can't eat them. And I said, you know what, if I can drink tequila, there's got to be a way that we can grind up a bunch of vegetables and you can just put it in like a little shot. And once a day, I'm gonna get all my vegetables and I won't be able to handle it, but I'll get my vegetables in. Can you do that? And the team said, of course we can. So they started to work on this formula in the background. Then I happened to notice my wife, Isabelle, every morning with all these little bottles and powders and stuff, concocting some meal that she's making. And I'm watching every day. It's a little bit different. And I noticed that she's putting things together and creating this shake. And I noticed some days she's working with one protein powder, other days she's working on another protein powder. And I said, wait a minute, how do you do that? How do you know? I've got a team working on a greens formula so that I can finally get some vegetables. And every day you're concocting, you create this shake and it doesn't taste that bad. How do you do that? Now, so Isabelle, you're on the line with us. Talk a little bit about your background, about how you know what should be in a shake for it to transcend what other shakes are out there, which then ultimately turned into the birth of Shakeology.
Well, to answer that question, we have to go back about 25 years ago. So in my early 20s, even though I was a sport nutritionist, a sport coach, a trainer, and very aware, very conscientious of what I ate, I found myself very ill. My health declined over a period of 2 years, so much so that I found myself at the doorway of my house, and I needed to do a little step, just a little step to be able to reach my door and go inside. And I was so weak that I couldn't even do that. And I collapsed and I stayed there for an hour crying. That's when my whole life turned around, because this is when I realized, after years of seeing doctors, spending thousands and thousands of dollars, getting no answer, getting broke, very scared and clueless how to help myself and not seeing any help out there, I turned around and I started thinking of how other cultures handle their health. And this is when I discovered alternative medicine. This is when I discovered phytonutrients, antioxidants. This is when I went deep into gut health, prebiotic, probiotic, digestive enzymes, even systemic enzymes, fiber. This is when I understood the quality of ingredients. And I started going Chinatown, Koreatown, and learning about all these magical tool that nature has. This is when I fell in love with nature. And this is when I fell in love with our bodies. This is when I understood that it was a very sophisticated machine and we need to understand how to nourish it from nature to nature. So all the ingredients on the shake now are not just some kind of glamorous things that I read about in a bestseller book. I have a very personal experience with them. I really love them. I trust them. And I understand that if they're potent and if they're highly bioavailable, it will be priceless to enhance our ability to be well.
Now, at the beginning, so understanding that and watching you do this and knowing that story, that's when I asked you if you would help us formulate this thing, which at the time, people might not know this, the original name of this was supposed to be H-Mode, healthiest meal of the day. And that got shot down and we came up with the name of Shakeology, but I asked you if you would help us formulate this and you turned me down. Why did you turn me down at the beginning?
I turned you down because I worked, way before I met you, I worked with several big companies, and each time the profit started coming up higher and higher, the quality would go down and down. And there's nothing I could do about it. And it was devastating to me because the whole purpose of creating these potions was to enhance others' health so that they don't have to go through what I went through. So it was quite frightening to find myself in that place again, because as I say, this time I am married to the CEO. And if the CEO does that, it's going to be a real bummer.
So I promised that I wouldn't compromise the formula, that this would be something that for once, the expectation of the formula would live up to what's on the package, to what the original promise was. But you said to achieve what we wanted, what this whole food nutrition, where the formula wasn't, or the ingredients weren't broken down and simply, they weren't extracted, an extract of what is potent, that you wanted a wingman of sorts. And that's when you recommended bringing Darin.
Yes, hold on one sec. I'm so sorry. So I met Darin through a mutual friend, Miguel, who at the time worked at a little health food store in our neighborhood. I had discussed with Miguel sort of what I was working on, and I was at the health food store looking at all sorts of different ingredients. And as he got to know me, he kept mentioning that I should really meet Darin Olien, that we would probably really get along. So we did meet, and it was a perfect match. We had lists of ingredients that we were in love with. It was almost the same list. We both love whole food, nature. We both had experiences with these ingredients. In love with adaptogens, everything across the board. It could not have been a better fit. So I'm very grateful for Miguel and for Darin, of course.
So Darin, it was not a natural or a simple process. You'd been formulating. I think you even had concocted some of your own things similar to what Isabelle does every morning, and you knew what sort of a challenge it would be to mass produce this. Talk a little bit about the hurdles to achieve the objective that we had of being a formula that, again, there was plenty of protein shakes out there and even fiber shakes and so on. But we wanted something that was truly wholesome, that would feed the body in a very different way. What were some of the hurdles that you went through in the formulation process?
Well, it was certainly, as I was moving down in my career of physiology and nutrition, the impetus of that was I simply saw quality being bad in most of the formulations that I'd seen. And I was happening over and over and over again. And by that time, I was developing relationships with labs and things like that, and I could get things tested. And so there was literally this moment where I said, oh, it's not being done very well. I literally have to go out and find these things myself, because I taking on something that you're formulating and then giving it to other people is a huge responsibility. And I come from, my father was an ag professor at the University of Minnesota. I'm from farmers. So to me, the first thing to really do this stuff and to really understand the botanicals is jump on a plane and see the farmers, meet them in the fields, see what they're doing and the quality assurance. So as you can imagine, then you times that by how many ingredients, it's overwhelming and impossible for one person, right? But for years, I had been developing relationships in these third world countries. So I had a good idea of what worked and what didn't. So almost in a little naivete, I was like, yeah, I've worked with a lot of this stuff. I have a lot of great relationships from around the world. Let's do it. And, you know, that moment when I met you, I mean, going back to Isabelle and I, we had this literally, we've never argued about one ingredient. We've never, you know, had any issues because we're basically coming from the same place. And so as we continued and started to find these botanicals, and you start unpacking where they're from, who's growing them, what active constituents you need to keep bioavailable and keep at a potency, you come to realize it's a massive undertaking. And I would always go back to what Isabelle said day one and what you said day one is we're not going to compromise on quality. So the ability as a company to back up their formulators, and I know that Isabelle feels the same way, by not compromising and putting their money in the unsexy side of the creation of the shake. And that is people in other countries that we're sending around, audit teams, HACCP certifications, all of these things and infinitely more with our people all over the planet spending money to make sure that we're eyeballing the process. That is radically different than any other company because it's not sexy. You assume that you're getting the quality. You're assuming that you're getting this white piece of paper that someone tested and they're sending it to you, all of these things. But believe me, as someone that's got my hands dirty and my feet dirty and looking under the hood on this stuff, you are not getting what you think you're getting. And so to have this knowledge of the plant, have this relationship with the people, and then having a company back it up with QA, QC, quality control standards, that's something that I always want to communicate, and something that's not the easiest thing to communicate, but it's because it's not just looking on the back of a bag. You can compare, but you're not seeing the level of what Beachbody is doing for quality.
Well, look, you know, it's funny. I can remember that first meeting, and we were talking, we were outside, and we were talking, and I said, Darin, this thing, we might have like 10,000 people a month might buy this shake. And who knew that at this point we would be fulfilling almost 500,000 servings a month. We have sold over 750 million servings in the 10 years since we had this shake going. But what people don't understand is that to achieve that, you're dealing with all these vendors. And I even remember, like, we started to unpack the dirty little secrets of the formulation industry and find out that what was invisible to most companies, like flavoring and flavor enhancers, that they wouldn't tell you what was in their special flavor recipe. And because they didn't have to tell you and it didn't have to appear on the label, that this thing that was supposed to be wholesome and healthy and feeding your body in a biologically available way was also sneaking in just a little bit, drop of that, just going to make it taste a little bit better. And as Isabelle says, like, I love this thing that you used to say, Isabelle, that would be like, we put all this effort into it. It's the most beautiful formulation ever. And then just a little drop of kerosene at the end to top it off. And I think that what we've achieved over the course of 10 years, Isabelle, is something that we all are constantly, meticulously scrutinizing and testing and making sure it lives up to the original promise. Well, but I want to ask you, from your perspective, Isabelle, what is the promise? What was the original promise of what this shake does for somebody that is so different, that is so unique?
Well, I'll answer in two ways. First, it's all about how you feel. It's really, we're so used nowadays to intellectualize everything. We analyze, we read books, we look at stuff on the internet, and it sounds good, and we take it, and we sort of disconnect from our bodies, from this incredible machine that tells you exactly what's up. And we're so disconnected from that way of looking at things, objectifying everything, but also because we believe in something we read, we don't even bother to check in with ourselves. We don't bother to know if it's actually working. This is why people take multivitamins and most of them don't feel anything. I'm not saying multivitamins are bad, but people don't question, am I feeling better? Is there something going on that I know something is happening? So the goal is really that. The goal is, please, after drinking the shake for 30 days, how do you feel? That's the key. How does it feel? And I know that when I drink the shake and I skip a few days, I feel the difference. This is what we're proud of. The fact that if you stick with it for just a little while, you'll see a radical difference. And that's the goal. We can give you all the information out there. You can Google all the amazing thing that you can find out about our shake with each ingredient. But at the end of the day, how does it feel? And as of now, we've gotten incredible feedback that way. And that's what it's about, to help you feel better.
Now, making you feel better and price, right? Like there's no price for feeling good. But before people buy this, many people get the price objection. And Darin, I know you're constantly going to expos. You see all the products out there, and we hear price competition. Oh, let's see other shakes that are half the price or 2/3 the price, and they have all the right names on there. You'll see some superfoods on there. What is the difference? Why do we see this price disparity? And how easy is it to fool people to think that you can achieve what we know what it costs to create Shakeology, but somebody comes out with something that looks like it for so much less?
Yeah, well, it's kind of a little bit of what I said before in terms of like many companies, don't have the bandwidth, the people, and the resources and the money to go to the level of testing. So when we're in other countries around the world, we're exploring and doing all of those things directly. That doesn't happen, and it's very easy to copy. I can call 5 different independent brokers that have botanicals, and they don't even know what they're selling. They just have the names. So it's very easy to get lost in the marketing spins. And I think the powerful thing that you will realize with both Isabelle, myself, you, Beachbody, is that we actually backed up what we're doing from day one. So we keep doing that. We keep showing up in these countries, auditing. By the way, we fail way more of the processors than actually accept. So, and oftentimes we need to help them along the way to get their standards to a place that meets our standards, not FDA's necessarily. FDA's got some weak standards. We go to infinite levels to make sure all of those hidden little chemicals and those little aspects of trying to stabilize the botanicals don't use all these other things, maltodextrins, all of this other stuff. So we really pride ourselves in making sure that the quality is showing up in that bag and that you're actually getting it. Because like Isabelle said, if you're consuming just a shake, you're probably not going to feel much. But if you're consuming something that's been validated by our people and is grown and processed in a way that has the potency, then your body is getting this cacophony of some of the greatest, very strong botanicals on the planet. And that's an incredible service that we get to do, because eat your food, work out, do all of those things still, but we are under massive amounts of stress in our lives in this modern day world. So therefore, we need these adaptogens. We need the support system of just kind of being in a normal life. We need this, whether you're working out or not. This is really the theos, the underpinning of why we created it, because people's bodies really need it.
Yeah, well, we call it the gateway to a healthy lifestyle. And while we wrap things up, Isabelle, can we talk about testing and how we make sure that the potency is what we expect. And we also see that crops change. We also see that the supply chain, sometimes things happen in the supply chain and thus adjust the formula. Talk a little bit, if you can briefly, because we're running out of time, talk a little bit about what the process is for maintaining the formula and how it continues to shift to make sure that it's always the best we can possibly conceive of in a way that we can believe in.
Well, just like Darin said, what's fantastic about our shake, and you allowed us to do that, Carl, is that it's alive. It's not static. It's not, oh, this formula works, let's not mess with it. Let's keep it as it is. So when something fails our high standards, we don't just keep it because it looks good on the bag. We let go of it. But that's exciting because that allows us to always enhance the quality of the bag. It's alive just like we are. It morphs and it changes according to needs. So we don't just make changes when an ingredient will fail our high standards testing, but we also go after new ingredients. So we also will go out of our way if, we have lists with a bunch of ingredients that we love and we haven't been able to implement yet. So when some of these ingredients suddenly, because technology is available or enough volume or the right vendor, we go after it and we go out of our way to introduce it into the shake, which is exciting. This is how we got to introduce matcha green tea and Chaga mushroom. So matcha green tea is high in chlorophyll. It's got an amino acid called L-theanine, which keeps you calm and focused. It has its own sorts of antioxidants called catechins. It's a perfect match with all our superfood in the shake. Same thing with Chaga mushroom. It's an amazing adaptogen that helps, your body deal with the stressors of life. Another fantastic match. We didn't wait for something to go wrong to introduce these two superfood into our shake. We knew it was a perfect match and we went for it. This is how the shake constantly evolves and gets better and better. And we're allowed to do that. And people don't realize that that's not the norm.
Yeah, well, and I know it's very difficult to stop asking you questions because I know you two would love to keep talking about this for the next 3 hours, and we're going to do more videos, more seminars to be able to, and maybe even put them on Beachbody On Demand so people continue to get educated about this. But I will say, give you a tip as a coach that what you can do is you want to know what some of these superfoods, what some of these ingredients do, just Google them. Look up the ingredients that you don't even know what matcha green tea does or what it's renowned to do or what chaga does. Look it up. Try to understand what does our protein blend mean and what benefits do some of the aspects of that blend do for you. But like Isabelle said, I think one of the things I'm the most proud of is that, like, when we started this, and I got some pushback even from our board of directors and people inside the company that how can we sell a shake that's going to be $4 or $5 a serving in a world that's used to $1 a serving shakes? And what I said was, and this is what I tend to trust about our products, is I know there's always going to be at least one customer, and that customer will be me. As long as I am thriving on this, as long as I'm struggling with my own nutrition, I think I had pizza twice yesterday. I'm not sure, but I think I did. But I was able to do that and justify it because I knew I had this. I'm not recommending that. We'll get into portion control in a second, but I knew I had this. Keeps me regular, keeps my energy going, helps me feel good. And it's because of the meticulous approach to managing this formulation and constantly updating it. And of course, if you or any of your challengers who get this in a challenge pack are questioning the value, that's the beauty, what we call the golden ticket, the money back guarantee. Like some people, they'll drink it once and they'll be like, well, I didn't feel anything. It's not medicine. This is nutrition. You drink this over the course of a week, of 2 weeks, and you see how it makes you feel. And if by all means, if they can't tell anything, some people are built in a way that they're not that sensitive, that they can't feel the difference, they don't need to spend the money, perhaps. Or perhaps their body really does need it. At the end of the day, though, it's going to be their decision. You don't have to be an expert in the shake. What you need to be is an expert in caring, in wanting, in imparting your story of the shake, what it's done for you, and then reminding people that they've got 30 days to drink this $120 bag of powder, $130 bag of powder, and see how it goes for them. And if they don't like it, they get their money back. And what I love about the overall ecosystem is we don't leave any stone unturned. The shake, fitness, and of course, nutrition. And to close off the call, thank you, Isabelle. Thank you, Darin, for your ongoing hard work. Like literally, this is changing lives. It's helping people understand the value of real nutrition in their lives. And, you know, I look back to 10 years ago, how I even contemplated that my little company, my little fitness video company, could create the greatest shake on the market was just silly. But the fact that you did it and you continue to do it, I'm just incredibly grateful for, because again, you got one customer for life, and I bet that you drink it too. But it's also a part of this ecosystem that includes fitness, and as of today, all of our customers can buy this expanded Ultimate Portion Fix color-coded container program that's going to help the family. It's going to help the kids. It's going to help expand your and your customers' view of how to eat and manage portions so that they're appropriately managing the macros and also the portions of those macros without sacrificing the things that they love, just managing the portions, without eliminating entire food groups so that their energy doesn't drop, so they're not cranky all the time. For the last 5 years, I've watched Autumn and the team evolve this little portion control system into something that is truly giving people control of their food. Like, control of food is a really big deal. They get help with a shake that feeds their body in a way that it's not used to getting fed. And they get help with understanding the size of the right portions and how to manage those portions throughout the day. And that's what's such a breakthrough about Ultimate Portion Fix, because we've taken 5 years of learning from when we first launched it with 21 Day Fix and now into the Ultimate Portion Fix. And of course, every one of your customers who buys Ultimate Portion Fix, including you as a coach, has access to 21 Day Fix in real time, which starts on April 1st. So what I would encourage you to do, this is going to be my new thing, is that as you're inviting customers and new coaches to participate with us with Ultimate Portion Fix, perhaps Ultimate Portion Fix certification, that at the same time that you're inviting them to step up, that we do what we do so well as a company, and that is create accountability and groups. So don't just ask them to join us and to help achieve their goals. Ask them who else they know that has a goal. Who else do they know who would like to perhaps get out of debt or create an income by getting healthy and helping other people get healthy? Ask them who can they invite right now. And so that instead of just bringing one person into this healthy lifestyle that has these financial benefits, bring 2 people, and you create a group of people that holds each other accountable to really make this mission of helping people achieve their goals to lead healthy, fulfilling lives something that is expanding at the pace that we need it to have this dramatic impact in the world. That's what we celebrate today with the 10-year anniversary of Shakeology and this ingenious invention by these 2 incredible people and the team that surrounds them. The 5-year anniversary of Portion Fix in these little containers and the launch of Ultimate Portion Fix to customers. You have the ability today to transform lives. It's like right there in front of you. You just need to get the word out to people, talk to people about their goals, lead with your heart. I'm not asking you to make a sale. I'm asking you to influence somebody's life. Care about them deeply. If you just close your eyes for a second and go, I'm not trying to make a sale here. I'm trying to enhance this person's life. it's like you are giving them the greatest present you could possibly. You're going to want to open that present for them. Like it's Christmas morning. Wait, give me the box. I'm going to open it for you. That's how excited you are for them to get this shake, get Ultimate Portion Fix, and get integrated into what we do. It's an amazing gift and a privilege that we had to do this work, but we got to do it. So I'm going to hand this back to Sandy. Thanks for having me on. Thanks, Isabelle. Thanks, Darin. Thank you, coaches, for all the work you do. Let's make this an incredible Monday and an incredible week and celebrate this fantastic shake and our ability to help people lead healthy, fulfilling lives. Sandy?
Wow. Okay. So all I kept getting out of that was don't settle. All right. Don't settle. That is what they did. They did not compromise on this drink at all. I also got, it's not medicine, it's nutrition. And this is from all of you on Facebook. Shakeology is a life changer. Okay, last but not least. Pack your passport. Have an incredible day. Have an incredible week. Thank you so much for drinking Shakeology. Happy anniversary, Shakeology. We'll see you next week. All right, bye-bye.